In a crowd of people, a creepy person with a paper bag on his head. He approaches a particular girl and keeps saying some words that are along the lines of a confession. He gathers his courage to finally call out the name of the girl, that is Asaji Yumi. Upon hearing her name being called out, the girl turns towards him and replies calmly. This simple gesture strikes Paper Bag Kun, but he takes out a ring and confesses his love. Before the girl can respond, her friend grabs her in a caution and shouts out loud that there is a pervert approaching them. This gathers the attention of the crowd around them, making Paper Bag Kun even more panicked. Soon, his panic spreads like a contagious disease, and everyone starts panicking around them. Yumi and her friend sit in a cafe after all the chaos. Her friend is surprised to know that Yumi does not plan to report the paper bag pervert from earlier. She thinks that the person in question is just shy, so there is no need to take any action against him. However, the friend has her doubts about him because the paper bag Kun looked full of danger to her. She even points out that things are being missing and people feel like they are being watched lately, and comes to an excellent deduction that the paper bag Kun must be the culprit behind all these. However, Yumi thinks that the person who feels like being watched could be misunderstanding the situation. The friend finally snaps and says that Yumi accepts the dreamer dancers and musicians on the streets, fashion girls with high personality quotient, and some of the so-called minorities in the society. Yumi is a very nice person, but she should have a little more sense of crisis to make sure that she would not be a sitting duck for the bad guys. Yumi, being a nice person, listens to the advice and even agrees to follow pursuit. She ponders on the sense of crisis thing while walking back, but she did not sense any bad intention coming from the paper bag Kun. She notices a change in her shadow and looks back to find the paper bag Kun, who now has bare ears for some reason. He panics by the sudden turn of Yumi and gives her a big teddy bear while professing his love once again. Yumi is surprised to find the teddy bear, but remembers the warning her friend gave her earlier. She knows that she should not be taking the gift from a complete stranger. She notices the boy's hands in front of her are shaking and are bright red. She asks why he wants to give her the teddy bear, and he panics again. After a while, he answers that it is because the teddy bear is cute and he thought it had made Yumi smile. It is because he wanted to make the person he loves feel happy. Yumi is surprised to hear his answer and is about to say something when the paper bag Kun notices someone coming their way and dashes away after throwing the teddy bear towards her. Yumi catches the bear in her hands. It looks like someone reported the paper bag Kun, so it is good that he ran away. Yumi glances at the teddy bear in her hands and ponders on something. Yumi returns to her apartment with the teddy bear and places it on the bed. She then finds a paper bag, empties it, and places it on the bear's head. She even pokes 2 eyes on the paper bag, and she is done. She remembers what he said and starts talking to the teddy bear. She says she lost her chance to say he had a good mindset and thank you for the gift. She wonders why he wears a paper bag if his hands got that red. How would his face look like? She wonders if he would appear before her again. Yumi gets her answer soon enough that the paper bag Kun appears quite frequently. At the tennis court, at the cafe to offer juice, and he even lays a red carpet with I love you written on it when she walks. The friend finally catches him and tells him to stop. She does not know if he is accepted by Yumi or not a bad person, but he is an annoyance to Yumi. If there was a criminal who wanted to target Yumi, all he had to do was wear a paper bag on his head and pretend to be him and get close to Yumi. No one would know and doubt it. That is why what he is doing is dangerous for Yumi. The friend tells him to never approach her again. The paper bag Kun is shocked to find that he is an annoyance and leaves. At a cafe, Yumi and her friend are having a chat. The friend asked if the boy had approached her since. The friend also asks about other things, but Yumi is so blank that she eats coffee jelly all messy and even drinks messily as well. The friend helps her wipe her face and asks if her purse and mobile are okay. Yumi notices that her lipstick is missing and thinks she left it at home. She also remembers that her notebook is in the locker, so she decides to go get it and asks the friend to go ahead and find them seats in the class. The friend is worried for her to go alone, but Yumi says that she would be okay. On her way to the lockers, Yumi thinks that she never took the paper bag Kun as an annoyance, but she still did not stand up for him. He never appeared again after that. Yumi discovers that the notebook she was looking for was not in the locker, even though it was supposed to be here. She is heading back but bumps into a boy, making his things fall on the ground. She moves forward to help pick the stuff from the ground, but finds her own notebook there. She is surprised and still processing through things, but the boy picks up the notebook and tells her that he found it in his seat when he took a lecture earlier and was going to deliver it to the staff room. So it is good that he was able to find the owner here. Yumi thinks for a while and asks how he knows that she is Yumi. She does not know him and did not even use the notebook in the classroom before. The boy's face darkens when she says there is no way for him to know her face too. He drops the notebook and grabs her hand instead. He says that Yume is doing it again to draw his attention after prowling around the man with a weird look. He then takes out a lipstick and says that she changed a lipstick to match his preference. Yume does not know what is going on and asks if that lipstick belongs to her because she thought she left it at home. The boy keeps on going and says that he understands that she gets nervous being loved, but pretending not to even know him is going too far. Yume does not know what he is talking about, but the boy says that he is going to punish Yume for being like that. Yume shouts, and the next moment, the paper bag Kun comes in between with a flower bouquet in his hand. Paper bag Kun stands between the two while holding a bouquet of flowers behind himself. Yume notices the flowers and grabs onto them and smells them. The boy gets angry that paper bag Kun keeps getting in his way, even though all he wants to do is nurture his love for Yume, who is shy and cute. Paper bag Kun nods in agreement but points out that Yume had said no earlier and it would be wrong doing something she dislikes if he wishes for her happiness, and as he calls the friend wrong, he grabs onto paper bag Kun's paper bag. Paper bag Kun struggles to keep the bag on his face. The boy tries to punch but paper bag Kun shoves him away, causing him to fall back along with the bag. Paper bag Kun approaches the boy and realizes that he's only fainted and tells Yume that it's fine now, but he sees her staring at him and wonders why he can see clearly. It is at this moment he realizes that he lost the bag and tries to find it while covering his face. Yume thanks him for the help, saying only her arm was grabbed, so it's fine, and comments that he doesn't need the paper bag and asks for his reason for doing so. She also apologizes for yesterday. At this, paper bag Kun gets up and hugs her and also apologizes, saying he looks away from people's eyes when he gets scared and wishes that Yume wouldn't be scared. Yume admits that she was dense so couldn't notice something like this before and thanks paper bag Kun for coming for her. Yume is glad that the paper bag Kun came to help her and thanks him. However, the paper bag Kun is too surprised to see her smile and flails around to be suddenly bathed by that intense light. It is poison to his eyes. Yume tries to talk to him, but he keeps saying such things while blushing. Yume says that his face is bright red now, but the paper bag Kun is too excited to get a one-to-one fan service and hits his head on the wall. Yume tries to stop him, but it is too late as there is already a bump on his head. He wakes on a pew and realizes he fainted. He also finds a note on him written by Yume. She explains that she would report the situation to the teacher before the stalker wakes up. She thought that he would not like to be seen by the security guard as he ran away earlier, so she took the liberty and moved him away. She even noted down her contact number so that he could contact her after things settle down. The next day, the friend hugs Yume and apologizes for not being there for her. The friend has been promoted, it seems, because the author decided to name her Tomo. Yume tells her that she is fine because the paper bag Kun protected her. Tomo is also ashamed that she was so wrong about him, and he is the one to save her precious friend. She needs to change her assumption now, but she is still worried and asks if he contacted her after that and said anything weird. Tomo is also worried that the paper bag Kun would not know when to stop, and she must have received 100 messages from him. However, Yume tells her that he did not contact her at all. However, Tomo still has her doubts and says that from his behavior up till now, he could be hiding behind the tree and may appear when she calls out to him. Tomo even goes to check, but of course he was not behind the tree. Yume calls him and he appears from another tree. Tomo grabs him by the collar and demands an explanation for not contacting Yume and making her worried. Tomo tries to take him to Yume, but he resists and says that he is an annoyance to be near. Yume remembers how Tomo told him to not appear again in front of her, and he acknowledged. Tomo still is suspicious of him, but she still thanks him for saving Yume. She even apologizes for calling him an annoyance and misunderstanding him. Yume is glad to hear that. Tomo decides to treat him to drinks to atone herself, but the paper bag Kun does not look willing. Tomo warns him to not do anything weird to Yume, or it will not be good for him, and leaves. Paper bag Kun is surprised that she left the two of them alone, but Yume naturally moves to make space for him on the bench. It sits with considerable distance between them. The two of them remain silent for a long time, and then Yui starts talking, making him jump out of his place. Yuan wants to thank him again, but the paper bag Kun says that it was just a coincidence that he was near and notices the commotion. He even apologizes for being a nuisance all this time. However, Yui tells him that he is not a nuisance at all, and asks if he would like to be her friend. The paper bag Kun is surprised to find that, but he looks happy by the red color of his nape. Yui asks if he does not want to, but he shakes his head vigorously. Yui says that she does not have a personality or anything she holds dear. Even Tomo told her that she is too lenient, but the truth is she does not really care. That is why she wants to know more about him. The paper bag kun is shocked to hear that and tells her that she does have a personality. She is too kind after all. At first, Yumi is surprised, but then she gets embarrassed. The two of them are about to get closer, but Tomo comes between them and asks what they are up to. She rings the paper bag kun for coming so close to Yumi. Yumi suggests they start talking on the phone for starters. At night, Yuma is in her apartment when her phone rings. She takes the phone and lies on her bed while texting. She wonders if he likes dogs because he had a picture of a dog on his display picture. It has been a week since Yumi and the paper bag kun started texting each other. Yuma invites him to hang out and he suggests making a plan himself. After that, many cautions came from his side, such as wearing outdoor clothes and shoes and applying sunscreen. Yumi deduces from these cautions that his plans must be outdoor and is now looking forward to it. She has only met him on campus and wonders how he will dress up outside. She has many speculations and drifts to sleep thinking about them. At the appointed time and date, Yumi arrives at the location and looks for him. He finds a person wearing something that looks like a beehive cleaner and wonders if that is paper bag kun. Fortunately, he looks her way himself and comes forward. Yumi greets him and says that he looks different than usual. Paper bag kun says this look is appropriate for their trip. However, he asks if this looks weird because he heard people whispering about him. Yumi analyzes that he usually wears a paper bag, but today, he is wearing a sun visor. She tells him it feels more natural than usual. They finally reach their destination, which is a farm. The location best fitting for the outing is a field. Yuen wants to ask a question to Sun Visor Kun and raises her hand. He tells her to just call him the paper bag kun. She wants to know more about his plan he had in mind. He explains that here they can try harvesting vegetables themselves, and then at noon they can eat it for lunch. They can even bring it home and it can be used as an ingredient for miso soup and so on. It seems Yumi did not like the plan so much. However, there is someone else who thinks that it is the best date plan, and that is the farmer of this field. Paper bag kun takes out a straw hat from his bag and gives it to Yumi because the weather is hot. She puts it on her head, so the paper bag kun receives another fatal cuteness attack. Yumi likes the hat because it feels cooler now and her shine is so much that even the sun visor could not block it. The farmer asks if they are done preparing. The standing Yumi and the fallen paper bag kun reply in agreement. Both harvest the vegetables by hand. Time goes by so fast, it is time for lunch. The paper bag kun decides to clean the tools, so Yumi also wants to help and tells him to hand her half of them. The paper bag kun only hands her one tool, making her pout. However, he says that he wants her to only have fun, so he would be the one to do the chores. Yui tries to intimidate him by coming closer, but he succeeds in running away from her. Even after that, he did all the chores, making Yumi feel bad for not being able to help him. The paper bag kun is washing the tools when the farmer arrives and tells him to let Yumi do the chores as well. However, the paper bag kun says that he only wants her to have fun and also wants to look cool in front of her. The farmer connects the dots and finally realizes the youthful desires. Just then, Yumi arrives and finds him muddy, so she also wants to help as well. She starts staring at him suddenly and pouts that he finds cute. She then smiles that he finds even cuter. She tells him that this day has been very fun for her. The water splashes on her from the tap when she tries to wash a tool, and she laughs that now they are matching. The paper bag kun finds her adorable, while the farmers are excited to see such youth. At dusk, Yumi and the paper bag kun farewell the farmers and head back riding the train. They packed so many things and plan to put them in miso soup. Both start dozing off while talking and eventually sleep in each other's company. Yuman wakes up to find that she was leaning on the paper bag kun. She apologizes but notes that he is also sleeping. She can see his face from the side and starts fidgeting and shaking her legs to and fro. She then touches her red face and says she tanned today. Yume is wondering what to do with that many potatoes that are left. The harvesting experience was fun. She ponders some more and starts gathering stuff from her fridge. The next day, she offers her homemade diced potato and bacon quiche to her friends. Everyone likes it and starts eating one after another. She tells them to leave just one slice for her. Later, her friends leave and she is left alone. She wonders where the paper bag kun is and texts him while getting some drinks from the vending machine. He replies real fast and tells him that he is nearby. Yui looks around to find him, but he is not in sight. She hears some noise in the bushes and indeed finds him behind them. He is setting up a special Hawaii edition Yumi service set. He invites Yume, who likes the setting very much. The paper bag kun has even prepared a fire dance for her entertainment. Yumi tells him the reason for her visit is the homemade food she prepared. The paper bag kun stops for a second and gets excited over homemade food. He cannot control himself and goes in a corner to fuss about it while Yumi takes it out along with the drink. She brought a peach-flavored one, but it looks like he does not like peaches very much. Yumi decides to go get another one, but the paper bag kun stops her, saying that it is not too hard for him to drink it. Yumi also finds the tea which she just drank in her bag. The paper bag kun would like it but still refuses. Yumi realizes it and moves the tea here and there to see his head move towards the tea as well. Yumi hands it over to him, but the paper bag kun is still hesitating. Even his hands get red from the blush, but in the end, he does not want to take the tea just because he has an ulterior motive. Yumi understands what he is implying, so she opens the peach drink and takes a sip from it as well. She then gives the tea to him while saying that now both have been touched by her lips, so he should drink this one rather than the flavor he does not like. The paper bag kun takes the tea, but a volcano erupts behind him. He quickly places the tea on the table and asks for the quish instead. He thinks that he is safe as long as he does not drink the tea. Yumi gives him the quish, which finds even the look of it to be delicious. He shakes in excitement, moves his paper bag a bit, and takes a bite. Yumi keeps staring at him while he eats, making him choke on his food. He keeps coughing but does not want to spit it out. Yumi hands him the tea, which he takes and drinks, but soon realizes that he took a sip and panics. In his panicked state, he climbs the wall and runs away, leaving Yumi alone. On the other side, he runs and spins until he is relaxed, and finally slides along a wall to sit down. He looks at the quish in his hand and starts eating again. He loves the food made from the vegetables they picked together. Yumi, meanwhile, is still sitting there. She glances at the tea bottle and remembers him taking a sip. Since he was caring so much about it, she also feels weird now. She picks it up and wonders what to do about it. She also realizes that the chair and the other stuff is still here. It was somehow managed through the texts. The paper bag said that he would take care of that stuff and that he liked the homemade food very much. In a playground, the paper bag kun apologizes for calling Yumi so suddenly. He wanted to see her smile so much that he practiced acrobats with such hard work that a professional even scouted him. Today, he wanted Yumi to see acrobats and be entertained. He spins the plate on a pole and also spins an umbrella at the same time. Yumi is impressed by his skill and praises him. But it seems like he is more popular with children because they have gathered around him to mess around. In the end, the kids win and he loses. He comes to Yumi all defeated, but she still praises him for his acrobatic skills. It starts raining suddenly, so the paper bag kun hands over the Japanese umbrella to Yumi. However, Yumi is worried about him and does not want to take it, so the two of them decide to share the umbrella. They run in the rain and find shelter near a building. Yumi apologizes for shocking the fancy umbrella, but finds that the paper bag kills us even more, so that the paper bag sticks to his face when he breathes in. Yumi tells him to take off the paper bag before he dies. So he takes it off and hides his face with the plates. Yumi tells him that her house is nearby and decides to lend him a towel and an umbrella. When they finally reach in front of her apartment, the paper bag kun bonks his head on the railing and even breaks the plates. Yumi is worried about him, but he now uses the hand towel to hide his face. Yumi wants to know the reason for his sudden outbreak, but the paper bag kun tells him that she lives alone in an apartment, so she should be careful to invite a suspicious person like him. However, Yumi thinks that he is different from that stalker. The paper bag kun does not know what to say, but Yumi comes out strong and tells him that she does not wish for him to catch a cold, so he should just come inside first. The paper bag kun blushes behind the towel and still argues, but Yumi does not listen to him. He finally says that he is no different than that stalker. He tells Yumi to be more aware of how people think about her. Yumi is shocked to hear that, but before she can say anything, the neighbor shouts to tell them to keep their voices down. Yumi realizes that they are disturbing the neighbors, so she takes the paper bag kun into her apartment. She takes him inside but still feels gloomy and does not talk much. She is about to go fetch the towel, but the paper bag kun grabs her hand and tells her to listen to what he has to say first. He even says that it is important, so he turns towards him to listen to him. He confesses he is in love with her. It might be normal to invite him and lend things because they are friends, but it is not normal for him. He even says his hand is hot because he is grabbing her. So her room, her towel, and her thing, everything is special to him. He then takes her hand closer to his heart and asks if she understands the throbbing in his heart. Yumi agrees hesitantly, but it makes the paper bag kun blush even harder. He honestly tells her that if she lent him her clothes, he is going to hug and sleep in them. He might even sniff her towel, and that is why she should not lend him anything. After all, it is disgusting if a friend does that to her. He does not want to hurt Yumi. Yumi listens to all this and runs away. The paper bag kun notices that the rain has already stopped, so he decides to leave but is stopped by Yumi as he is walking out of the door. She brought him a towel and told him that it is not disgusting or unpleasant for her, but sniffing is a bit embarrassing. Saying that, She closes the door, leaving a stunned paper bag kun outside who falls down after a while. His blush intensified. Yumei on the other side of the door is also trying to hide in her hair while blushing. A few days before the acrobat stunt, a police officer who was suspicious of his activities stopped the paper bag kun. The paper bag kun tells him that he is simply preparing a stunt for the girl he loves. Police officer tells him that the girls are not impressed by the stunts, so the paper bag kun tells him the type of girl he is trying to impress. The cop gets emotional and even cheers him on. He then starts telling his own love story when he was young. However, he still has to perform his duty right, so he tells the paper bag kun to leave for today and not get caught for questions again. Despite the warning, he was questioned 3 more times. Yumei is in her apartment kitchen, washing the cabbage, but she is all blank and still thinking about how she answered him the other day. She is now embarrassed for being so bold and even blushes when thinking about friend and lover. Thinking too much has made her feverish, so she checks her temperature, and indeed, she has a high temperature. So she decides to take a break from classes today and rest. She is thinking of something she is not used to. Up till now, there was no one special like that in her life. She then suddenly remembers that there was something like that in the past. A kind boy, she thinks about him and drifts to sleep. When she was a child, she kept apologizing and crying to a boy. She placed her handkerchief on his bleeding forehead and apologized for climbing the tree. Had she not climbed the tree, he would not have gotten hurt protecting her. The boy tells her to not cry and even takes out something from his pocket to cheer her up. However, he is shocked to find his gift broken in his pocket. Yumei glances at it and finds a broken ring candy in his hand. The boy complains that he is so uncool right now. However, Yumi tells him to open his mouth and opens the packet of the candy. She says that now they can share that candy, that is why it broke. She tells him that he is not uncool at all while placing a piece of candy in his mouth. The boy suddenly gets up and goes to find something in the grass. He returns and asks for the ring part of the candy. Yumei hands him that part, and after some adjustments, he gives the ring back to Yumi with a flower on it. He even says that he would give her the right ring the next time. He wants Yumi to always be smiling. Yumei wakes up to her phone ring. She realizes that she has been sleeping for some time because she is soaked in her sweat. She remembers that she was dreaming but does not remember the content of the dream. She reads the messages from her friends but still cannot shake off the feeling that the dream was important to her. She receives another notification on her phone and is anticipating that the message would be from the paper bag kun. However, the message is from some magazine, so she glums. She did not even tell him that she caught a cold, so there is no way he would text him. She gets another message and looks at it hurriedly. However, the message is not from the one she is expecting, so she lies back. After a while, she notices some clutter at the door and goes to check it. She is so spacing out that she even forgets to unlock the second lock. After finally coming out, she does not find anyone at the door. She is about to go back inside when she notices a bag on the floor. It contains the towel she lent to the paper bag kun. When she picks it up, dominoes start falling, which then hit a ball and the ball rolls. She follows it to the mini bowling, and then a toy moves to open up a banner in a confetti saying thank you for the towel. Yumei is pleasantly surprised to find it and laughs in happiness. She looks at the towel in her hand and holds it near. The paper bag kun is in a difficult position, being in a box. On the other hand, Yumi tells him to prepare himself as she stabs him with a sword. However, he is safe as that was an illusion box and the sword was also just a prop. She tells him that he is really talented because he handmade the sword and the box himself. She moves near the box to take a closer look, but the paper bag kun stops him. He says that the magic would disappear if she took a peek at it. While he was stopping her, he came so close that now even as well. His hand is red. Yumei notices this and blushes too. The paper bag kun notices her quiet and asks if she is all right. Yumi finally comes back to her senses and tells him that his hand is really big and also that spending time with him like this makes her heart feel warm somehow. After hearing that, the paper bag kun lets out some weird happy noises. He was not so confident that he would be able to do it right, so he is really glad. Even when he asked Michiko to watch his performance, things kept slipping off. Yumei hears an unknown name and feels a dark and suffocating feeling emerging inside her. The paper bag kun notices her expression and asks about it, but Yumi says that they should head home now. In her apartment, she hugs the teddy bear in a gloomy mood. She knows that it was really fun to spend time together, and she is still wondering who Michiko is. She lies down on the bed and thinks that she should have asked him on the spot if she is so concerned about it, but somehow she did not ask. Her phone rings, and she finds that the paper bag kun is worried about her because she looked a little different. She realizes that she did not ask him right away because she likes him and is always so kind to him. The next day, the paper bag kun waits in the same playground. He was called by Yumi, so he is worried what she would have to say to him. After a while, Yumi arrives and greets him. She comes directly to the topic and asks what kind of person Michiko is. The paper bag kun says that he has a picture of her, so he will show her. Yumi is still not ready to see the picture, but he shows her anyway. It is actually a picture of a cat. The paper bag kun tells her that it is actually the cat of a neighborhood. Yumi is shocked to see the cat, but the paper bag kun does not understand the shock and asks if she would like her pictures as well. Yumi sits down to hide her embarrassment, making the paper bag kun worry that she is not feeling well. Yumi tells him that she thought Michiko was a woman. The paper bag kun tries to explain that he cannot even talk to other women because they run away after seeing him. Yumi tells him that it is not his fault because she is one who became jealous thinking that another woman interrupted her fun time. The paper bag kun is too shocked to hear and verifies again, but Yumi tells him to not ask again as it is embarrassing for her. He removes half of the paper bag to expose a blushing red face. He is just so happy and tells her that there is no need to worry for her because he is always here to make Yumi happy. Yumi smiles and thanks him. Yumi and the paper bag kun are sitting on the ground, enjoying themselves. He wants to clear a misunderstanding because Yumi thinks that he is pretty skillful. He demonstrates that he is not so skillful in making flower crowns, and those things need practice. Yumi used to think that he could do anything, so she is a bit surprised. She looks at the flower crown and decides to take it. Paper bag kun wants to make her a better one, but she says that this one is fine. The next day, paper bag kun calls for her from behind a tree when she is on her way somewhere. He takes out a beautiful flower headband and tells her to throw the one from yesterday. Yumi likes it, but does not know where things like these are sold. Paper bag kun tells her that he made it himself using artificial flowers. She is surprised to know that and even notices bandages on his hand. She tells him that he practices a lot for this, but she is not going to throw the one from yesterday. Yumi is done with baking the cookies and the pound cake. She is supposed to take a break, but she is working up on what to do with these cookies. She takes a quick picture of the pound cake and sends it to the paper bag kun. The next day, Yumi is too sleepy because she was up late at night. Paper bag kun calls her from behind. She turns to find a taller paper bag on his head that matches the pound cake she made last night. Yumi sits on the ground after seeing that and realizes that she made the eyes on the cake in the wrong location. However, paper bag kun holds respect for her wonderful sense. The paper bag kun is painting a board when he hears two girls approaching. They are complaining that they have to come to this old building to get the stepladder. Furthermore, the stepladder is buried behind some boxes, so they have to move those first. While moving the boxes, one of the girls starts talking about the spirit of a senior that roams in this building. The other girl tells her to stop talking about scary things. She then consoles herself that there are no such things, but the approaching paper bag kun from behind gives her a startle. He is actually here to move those boxes because he is the one who places them here. The two girls move away and start analyzing him instead, even though they cannot see his face. They have a feeling that he is handsome, but still want to confirm by seeing his face. Their staring intensifies, so he decides to take his leave now that he is done with moving the boxes. However, the girls start questioning him and thank him for the help. He simply nods in reply and the girls leave. He returns to doing his work, but another voice disrupts him. It is the so-called ghost senior, but he clarifies that he is not a spirit. The senior praises him for helping the girls even though the boxes did not belong to him. Paper bag kun says that he did so knowing that those girls were Yumi's friends. The senior teases him for having ulterior motives, but he gets angry. The senior was actually curious about his weird act that does not even match his appearance that he lent him the club room. The senior says it is better for the two weirdos to hang together. He then asks what he likes in Yumi. Paper bag kun tells him to nor call her by her name, but still tells him that he likes everything about her. Her gentle tone, her enjoyment with him, how she likes to carry heavy stuff herself, her stubbornness, and her anger as well. So he likes everything about her. Paper bag kun stands up because it is time to go meet her. The senior tells him to do his best, but he says that there is no need to tell him that. Yumi is sitting on the ground when the two friends arrive. They are fighting over the charm of collarbones. Both of them do not back away from their views and ask Yumi as a last resort. Yumi thinks for a while and replies that a handsome boy should have a kind heart. Both her friends hug her because they have lost to her and leave. The paper bag kun, who was standing behind a tree, looks happy by her answer. He comes out and finally calls her. Yumi arrives at school thinking if she arrives early in the morning, she will be able to complete her assignment. It's so cold outside, and she does not have a coat to cover herself, which makes her nose run. She enters the library, and after putting her bag aside, she takes a towel from her bag, which she lent to paper kun first. She knows she does not need to use it, but still bought it with her. She recalls paper kun words when he said this towel would remind her about him, which makes it special. While rubbing it with her face, she is nearly confessing they both have the same feelings, but on realizing this fact, she blushes. She overhears girls at some distance. One of them tells another how she proposed to a senior and got rejected last month, but then suddenly, the next day, he asked her to go out. She bluntly rejected him because she was brokenhearted, and what about her when she was pushing her feelings for him to forget him? It's hard for one to stay friends with someone who just rejected him. Those girls leave the room after their hurtful conversation. Yumi contemplates her situation and that she is just like the senior in the girl's story to Paper-kun who respects their friendship. She senses someone is behind the windows looking at her. She can guess it must be Paper-kun dressed up as something. She approaches the window and wonders if it's a sunflower. She abruptly opens the window and sees Paper-kun dressed as a lion with its back like a sunflower. He tells her he wants her to see his next thing, which is circus. He has already prepared a vertical ring and fires it to let her see how he can pass through it. But he feels bad for an animal doing it. She yells at him to extinguish the fire as soon as possible, so he does it on her insistence. He was out here for practice, but he did not know she came here often. She tells him she has come here just by chance to complete her assignment, which she missed due to her fever. On hearing she had a fever, he rushes to her suddenly and removes his gloves to check her fever. He is very close to her, asking if it's because of the rain last time. She replies she is fine now and has her heart going on ba-bump ba-dump hard. He wraps his coat around that she is lightly dressed, and it is cold too. Next time he will protect her from the wind because they are friends. It reminds her of the girl's conversation and wants to talk about it with him. She starts a conversation by saying she knows what she is about to say will make him hate her. He clearly declines, saying never, he will never hate her. He further adds that when he said he hates her, it was all a lie. There is a strong wind blowing which makes him not audible to Yumi, and when she asks him what he said a minute ago, a watchman arrives to check the smoke and runs after Paper-kun. Yumi goes inside thinking she wants them to be more than just friends. At home, Yumi decides to confess to him and makes a meeting plan with him in the park where they usually go. She has ruffian hairstyle, so she makes herself pretty presentable. She arrives at the park where there is no one in the morning on the weekend except Paper-kun, who has arrived earlier. He looks at her, but before he says anything, she greets him in the morning. She is looking cute, and it makes his soul leave his body. In confusion, he goes to her and asks her if she has plans with someone today because she is dressed up specially. She whispers to him she has plans to meet up with him just now. He is baffled she is dressed up for him and compliments her hairstyle looks cute. She thanks him and says she wants something to talk about. He takes her to swings where she confesses she has special and warm feelings for him and does not want to give to other people. She wants them to be lovers from friends. Even though she mustered up her courage to confess, he rejects her, saying he cannot return her feelings because he has been hiding something from her, and it's unfair. Even though he wants to make her with his own hands, he does not have the qualifications for her straightforward feelings. She gets up from the swing saying it can be right. He never told her to go out even for once. She has a crying face and does not want him to see it. She is hiding her face and ends up bumping a rail ahead. When she is going to fall, Paper-kun comes ahead, and while protecting her, he also falls. She opens her eyes and sees she has fallen on Paper-kun, whose paper bag is pulled out from his head. His face has been revealed to her, and it turns out he is Fuya. Yumi finally found the hair wax and the hand mirror. She is trying to make a new hairstyle today and searching the internet for it. It all started because Tomo asked why she never ties her hair even when he has long hair. Yumi tells her that the volume of her hair is pretty thick, so they feel heavy when she ties them up. Tomo understands because she had long hair in the past. However, she thinks most things are hard like this, such as wearing revealing clothes in winter and wearing a cute shoe even if it hurts the toe. Even with all that pain, she still wants to dress up nicely because it is exciting. Yumi remembers how she tried to style her hair. It gets all tangled and she needs to do it again, but it sure is exciting. When she reaches the park in her new hairstyle, she watches the paper bag come there as usual and is happy that she got dressed up nicely. Fuya pushes her aside and runs from there thinking he got exposed. He knew she would recognize him by the mark on his head. He remembered it all from the past. The scene shifts to 10 years ago when he was in junior high school. He has a physical education class which will be doing iron bars, and the warm-up has to be done in pairs. His teacher appears and advises him to make friends this year. He must not give that to someone he wants to befriend, but he makes a sulking face. The teacher asks Yumi if she wants to be paired up with Fuya, and his heart bounces looking at her. Yumi greets him, and he does not say anything back. Instead, he hands over something in her hands. These are hairs, and it is what his teacher just forbade him to do. Everyone around them despises him and gossips about him, but Yumi does not get offended and asks him what it is. He can tell her if it's low volume. He informs her he saw on television that cat's whiskers are considered a lucky charm, so he plucked some hairs from his dog. Yumi smiles after listening to it and thanks him, which makes his heart flutter. On that day, while enjoying the game, she whispers into his ears that she is going to put those hairs in a bag like a real charm and hang it on a school bag. She is close, which makes him embarrassed. He runs home after school and notes the ways to make her smile. He has several ways to plan and execute them. A month later, he goes to school to execute plan number 25, which is his short haircut, but still, she does not seem impressed. One day, he asks her if she does not have anything planned, then can she go to search for Cicada's husk with him. She agrees with him with sparkling eyes. After school, he goes home first to bring a ring of candy. They both arrive at a forest where one tree has a lot of Cicada's husk. She starts climbing on a tree. Fuya considers it should be him climbing, but seeing she has sparkling eyes, he lets her go. On halfway, she slips, and while saving her, he falls, which results in his forehead bleeding. She places a cloth to stop the bleeding while apologizing and crying that she cannot let him hurt when protecting her. To make her mood lighten up, he gives her a ring candy, but it has also broken. However, she is fine with it because they can share it now. She feeds him a piece of candy, which makes him assure he likes her. For the time being, he replaces the candy with a flower and says he will bring the real one next time. They get him to go home, and she holds his hands that it would be hard for him to see with his left eye. He asks her what she thinks about his face, but she has not ever given thought to it because his face does not matter. He is a kind person, and she feels sad seeing him hurting like this. He raises their holding hands and says he has got proof on his forehead he protected Yume. His normal face is cooler now, and he is glad about it. It cheers her up, and then they return home. One day, Fuya's mother receives a call where she is informed Yumi is going to leave the school soon due to her family circumstances. The teacher also informs them in the classroom and advises them to make memories with her as she has less than one time left in school. However, Fuya skips his school because he is brokenhearted and is bound in his room crying for Yumi. His mother terrifies him that Yumi, if he is not going to come out, Yumi will leave him behind. So Fuya goes out to meet Yumi, who is on her way home. At the meeting, he requests her not to go out, but she smiles back, saying it would be nice if she does not go out. She asks him if he will join everyone in the park, but he declines. She leaves the site, saying they will meet tomorrow. The last day of Yumi in school arrives, where everyone wishes her the best of luck. Fuya sulks and tells her not to go. Girls ask him not to sulk on Yumi's last day, and they even invited him to make memories with her. Fuya bursts up crying and says he hates all of this so that everyone accepts it easily. Unable to say anything in return, Yumi leaves the class with some sentiments. Fuya also comes after her, where she says it's lonely leaving everyone behind, but she cannot do anything about it. She is also crying and turns to him and says that he hates her and that she is not going to see him ever again. This is the moment that left a regret in his life, and even after 10 years, he is still being hunted by those lines. This story happened in Yumi's childhood. The teacher is excited for the new class, but it is her first time being a homeroom teacher. She is glad that there are composed kids in her class that become a cushion for the spirited kids, so the balance is maintained. The paper bag kun comes to her and asks if he is asking for a friend, but the teacher can instantly tell that he is asking for himself. He asks if that would make the person you love happy. The teacher knows that he is talking about Yumi since she is so kind. She advises him that the girls like appearances, so it is important to watch the cleanliness. The next day, he looks neat and clean. The teacher finds him cute and even cheers for him. In the second semester, a postcard from Yumi comes, and it has her new address where anyone can contact her. But Fuya has no courage to even apologize to her and keeps it for 10 years. Until one day, when passing through the university entrance, he sees grown-up Yumi talking with friends. He readily hides behind a wall and is flushed, thinking she has cuteness overflowing and cherishes her personality. Suddenly, he remembers she told him not to show her his face again. Then a paper box comes flying to him, which belongs to a boy standing before him. He asks Fuya what he is doing curled up and learns that Fuya does not want someone to let see his face. That boy advises him to wear a paper bag, as sure he will stand out, but no one will recognize him. Fuya has a strong will to see her and decides to use this bag, as he will be in the same class as Yumi for 3 months. The scene shifts to the present time when Fuya has rejected Yumi. It has been 2 months since Yumi has confessed. Tomo arrives there asking him if he will be doing paper kun cosplay. Fuya says he has come to throw everything. Tomo is speechless at first and then smiles, asking him if he has got dumped. He learns the whole story from Fuya and considers him a total beka. Fuya finds himself a coward who cannot even apologize to her, which raises his feelings of guilt. Now he's exposed, he can't even see her as a paper bag kun. So he decided to throw everything away and never see her again. Tomo lets him do whatever he wants. Fuya is about to put something in a box. Tomo asks him what it is in his hands. Fuya tells him it's full-face sun visor, which he wore at the time when he went with Yumi to harvest some vegetables. Tomo also asks him about different cosplays and things, which in turn reminds Fuya about his time with Yumi and her smile. Tomo gives a last try asking him what about the ring he prepared on the first day. Fuya has it saved and is going to throw it, but he loses his courage and starts crying. He considers himself a complete idiot who did not realize what was precious and did not have the courage to apologize. Tomo jabs him from behind and says he does not have any tools to go see her now. If he brings some accessories, he will look cooler for a bit. Fuya is cheered up and gets up saying he is off to where Yume-chan is. Fuya runs into the school to search for Yume and ends up in the fashion designing club room. He knocks on the door and Yume speaks up saying no club is closed and she cannot unlock the door. Fuya gives her his name. It's him outside and has come to apologize for what he said about hating her 10 years ago. He did not dare to say anything, that's why he marked her as a paper bag. She considers he has come to reconcile, and it makes his heart feel lighter. She opens the door somehow, and when he enters, he sees her dressed as a Barbie girl. She is wearing this dress because the planned model could not come and her height is similar, so she was asked to wear it. Fuya compliments her outright that it was not her height, but it suits her perfectly. He comes close to her to apologize and thanks her that she accepted such a weird guy. He holds her hands where she also apologizes to him for saying she never wants to see his face ever again and for not realizing paper bag kun was Fuya. He shows her a ring box, which is the same he showed her as a paper bag kun. After getting her permission, he slides the ring in her left hand, which makes her emotional to even cry. He wipes her tears, and then they both confess to each other, "I love you, and I love you too." Thus, the story ends with such a happy and sentimental ending. Yumi is excited and nervous that the feelings are mutual. She paces to and fro in her room to think of what to do now that she is in a relationship. She suddenly gets an idea and thinks of practicing the hairstyle that she had done today. She takes out the hair iron and starts practicing. However, it looks harder when she tries it herself even after taking help from the internet and ends up with a Rococo style. Her phone rings and she picks it up without looking. The voice surprises him because it is actually Fuya on the other side. He called because he wanted to hear her voice. Yumi laughs and tells him that she was thinking the same thing. Yumi reveals that she got herself a boyfriend to her friends. Everyone is shocked to hear that and wants to learn more about it. Yumi sketches on the paper and shows what he looks like. However, her drawing is no help at all. A friend asks what made him special. Yumi replies that he looks out of place sometimes. The friends think that she should look at the mirror herself because he is also out of place. Yumi tells them that he was trying his best to make her happy, and whenever they are together, she gets a gentle feeling. Her friends are finally satisfied that he surely is gentle if she is saying that. They tell her to introduce him, and Yumi tells them that he is going to come later. Minutes later, Fuya arrives. One friend says that he is a hottie. Tomo is trying to remember where she has seen him, while the third friend says that he does not look like the sketch at all. The senior asks if Fuya's first date with Yumi is this weekend. Fuya dreamily says that it is. The censor then asks if he plans to bring the huge backpack. Fuya proudly says that he is going to keep all the things that might be needed in it. The senior tells him that he is treating it as a grade school trip. Fuya also realizes that, but he says that the grade school trip was fun, so it is fine. The senior tells him to sit for a lecture. Fuya even says that Yumi is okay with this plan, but the senior cannot bear to see him ruin his first date with that huge backpack. He finally hits the nail on the head and asks if a college student would be okay with a date that was planned by a grade school student. The senior says that he does not mean to criticize him, but there are a lot of people who are bad at it. He even knows someone who could not set the mood on a date and got dumped after being friend-zoned. Fuya says that Yumi is not going to do that, but the senior tells him that it depends on Yumi's feelings. Fuya loves Yumi, but doubts his skills, so he asks advice from the senior. On the day, Fuya arrives earlier and waits for Yumi. She arrives and greets him. She asks about the change of plans to just the aquarium and asks if he has something to do later. Fuya denies it. He cannot tell her that he is going to follow advice from his senior today, who said to change the plans to the aquarium only due to the reason that she would say that she wants to stay more time with him. Fuya tells her that it could be pretty tiring if they are out all day. Yumi also agrees because she remembers them falling asleep on the train when they went to the fields. Fuya compliments her outfit, so Yumi also compliments his hairstyle. The destiny begins as per instructions from seniors. Fuya is kind to everyone else and considers the breaks in between all in the advice of the senior. But he cannot change who he is, so he shouts in the photo booth to get it out of his system. And so the date goes on. They get a chance to hold hands, but both get embarrassed. Then they have a meal at the aquarium restaurant and Fuya pays for it. They see the sunset together. Seeing Yumei happy makes Fuya happy as well, and he thinks that now she would fall in love with him. She then realizes that he has been trying to make her fall in love with him all this time. He asks her if she had fun today. Yui says it was a very fun day. However, Fuya does not look that happy, so she asks what is wrong. Fuya says that it is hard to explain, but he wants to be better than he was 10 years ago and only wanted her to fall in love with him. However, what he really wants is to make her smile, make her happy, and this feeling is still the same as 10 years ago. He thought he had to grow up, but he cannot do what he really wants, and his methods usually do not seem to work. That is why he asked if today was fun for her. Yume says that it was really fun, and if he cannot believe her, she can prove it to him. She thinks for her, she is the happiest when she is with him. The time she spends with Fuya is precious to her. She asks if today was fun for him. He looked like a gentle prince today. But did he even watch the fish? Fuya remembers that he has been trying to maintain the perfect image all this time today. He tells her that it was fun, but maybe he was pushing himself. Yume grabs his hand, making her surprised, but she just wanted to see time. She says they can still look around if they walk quickly. Fuya likes this idea, so the two go back to the aquarium again. Yumei looks like a mess when her friend Tomo tells her to leave her alone. Yui does not mind her words and simply says that there are a lot of vines growing back here. However, Tomo does not listen to her excuses and reveals that it was actually not Yumei who got messy on purpose, but someone did this to her. Yumei has been hated by her class because she did not agree with everything that they said. Tomo knows that Yumei is just being bullied for being friends with her. She knows that Yumei would never say something like not being friends because she is being bullied, but she does not want to make her feel bad about it. So she tells her to stay away and leaves. Yumei calls out to her from behind and tells her that she knows why Tomo is being shunned and it does not trouble her. Actually, Tomo saw someone being bullied in the class and got angry at them. Yumei tells her that what she did was right. Yumei is not saying this just because Tomo was in the right, but also because she is someone kind. Tomo prioritizes Yumei's safety over fairness, so Yumei thanks her. She even says that she would continue to look after her because they are friends. Tomo is getting really emotional, but she cannot lose to those bullies, so she will not cry. Yumei wants to check on her, but Tomo remains strong and thanks her. She just knows that the world is strange when a girl like Yumei is losing out. Tomo decides to punish the bullies and protect Yumei while the two remain friends. She will do it and she can do it. That is the best way in this situation. She apologizes to Yumei for being so stubborn up till now.